Tarki. Gururaradhanadishch Guruh Param Daivatam Guru Parataram Nasti Kripalu Gurave Namah Kripalu Gurave Namah Kripalu Gurave Namah. Please close your eyes and I shall sing a kirtan for you. I know that you cannot join me because of the time lapse. Please keep your audios, mute your audio, please. And let's do Roop Dhyan as you listen to this beautiful chant. Shri Krishna Govind Hare Murare He Nath Narayan Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govind Hare Murare He Nath Narayan Vasudeva 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 Shri Krishna Govind Hare Murare He Nath Narayan Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govind Hare Murare He Nath Narayan Vasudeva 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 Shri Krishna Govind Hare Murare He Nath Narayan Vasudeva He Nath Narayan Vasudeva. Srimad Sadguru Sarkar ki jai. Srimad Yugal Sarkar ki jai. We learn from scriptures that the only path that can lead us to God is the path of love, the path of devotion. We looked at the path, the other paths that the scriptures mention, the path of karma and dharma. We looked at the path of gyan, or the path of knowledge, which is very similar to the path of yoga. And we came to know that karma dharma needs devotion to take us to God. So karmi, one who follows the path of karma, does not go to God, but if he adds devotion, then karma yogi, he becomes a karma yogi, and then he attains God. Same thing with the jnani, the one who treads the path of knowledge, path of gyan. He, with great difficulties, he reaches the ultimate in his path, and that is Atma Gyan. He knows the self, but in order to know God, Brahma, he needs to take shelter in the path of devotion. And that leads us to the path of devotion, which does not need the help from any other path. Bhakti is called Swatantra. It is independent of all other paths. It doesn't need any other path, whereas all other paths need devotion. So a person who has come to understand that there is only one path leading to God has made great strides on the path, because now he knows which path to follow. Otherwise, there would be so much time lost walking on this path and that path and wasting so many lifetimes. So just the mere fact that we have decided that path of devotion is the only one that will take us to God. We've understood this. It's a wonderful thing. It's something that should make us very happy that we've understood this. So now let's talk about this path. And I will share with you what Jagadguru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj, our Gurudev, has taught us. From childhood, we have been learning wrong lessons regarding devotion. We've learned that doing rituals with our hands is what devotion is. We've learned that simply chanting the names and glories of God, that is what devotion is. We have learned going physically to holy places is what constitutes devotion. We've learned that that taking the prayer beads in our hands and letting them slip through our fingers one by one while chanting some mantra like Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I bow down to Vasudev Shri Krishna. We have thought that that is what devotion is. We have thought we had learned that physically going to the mandir, the place of worship, is what devotion is. But what we have learned from our beloved Gurudev is that devotion is to be practiced with the mind. So if the mind is absent, if the mind is thinking of the world, and we are sitting in Vrindavan, Haridwar, Mount Kailash, and if our mind is in the world, then we are actually in the world. Jaha man waha hum. We are where our mind is. So the very first thing about devotion is to understand that devotion is practiced with the mind. Then why do we use some rituals and ceremonies, such as performing the arati before God? We perform some rituals. Why do we perform them? Why do we then chant the names of God and the pastimes of God? Well, it's very important to do so. Why should we go to Vrindavan? Why should we go to an ashram? It's very important to do all this. By physically going to a holy place, we are reminded, the mind is reminded of God. When we go to Vrindavan, for instance, we are reminded, this is the same Yamuna river that Sri Krishna was swimming in. This is the same river in which the ball had fallen and little Krishna had gone in to retrieve the ball, but it was just an excuse to tame Kalyanag, the serpent Kalya. These trees, they look so old. Perhaps this was a tree that Sri Krishna sat on one of its branches. That is where he played the flute. This is the same earth on which my Lord placed his infinitely soft lotus feet. When we go to holy places, our mind is reminded of God. That's why it is important to go there. When we chant, when we do bhajans and kirtans, it is so wonderful to do that. It's very helpful to do that. Again, because the mind finds it helpful. The mind is reminded, hey, think about God. Think about whose names I'm chanting. But if we are simply chanting the name of God and at the same time thinking of visiting the Taj Mahal in Agra, India, or we're thinking about family matters, the upcoming weddings, it's the summer season, the upcoming family get-togethers, the upcoming vacation, whatever you may have, all the chores that need to be done in the house. We're thinking about friends and enemies and whatnot. Then we're not practicing devotion at all. We're only fooling ourselves. So we have to understand this very clearly, that it's the mind that practices devotion. This is why Sri Maharaj emphasized time and time again, he emphasized Roop Dhyan karo, Swarn aksharon mein likh lo, ye Roop Dhyan ke bina kaam nahi banega. Maharaj used to say, write this down in golden words, letters of gold, that you will have to do Rup Dhyan. You will have to meditate on God. You will have to visualize him. Simply uttering his name is not going to take you anywhere. In fact, if we are uttering his names, we are singing bhajans and kirtans, and without Rup Dhyan, then a lot of people would say, well, something is better than nothing. Kuch na karne se, kuch karna to theek hi hai na. But Maharaj Ji used to say, no, this is something that is, it's better to say, it's more appropriate to say that in this case, that nothing is better than something. What does that mean, Maharaj Ji? And Maharaj Ji would say, well, a person who does not chant at all, he cannot be proud because he doesn't chant at all. Now, you're chanting, but without doing Rup Dhyan. So you're not really practicing devotion, but you have become very proud that, oh, I've done 12 hours of Kirtan. I chanted the names of God for 72 hours nonstop. You have become proud. And pride is something that is detested by God. So in this case, it can be said that nothing is better than something. So we have to mind the mind. We have to be very careful that the mind is present, the mind is with God. Because you see, the mind is the one that does everything for us. Mind is the one that sees, hears, tastes, touches, smells, thinks. It does everything. So it's natural for us to understand, it's easy for us to understand that when it comes to practicing devotion, loving God, it has to be the mind doing it. So for the mind to get interested in God, we do Rup Dhyan. Rup Dhyan. That does not mean just staring at a nice photo of Sri Krishna. It doesn't mean staring at a beautiful murti, an image of Lord Krishna, an idol. It means rather using a beautiful picture or a painting or an idol of Sri Krishna to form the basis of your Rup Dhyan. Then this is a general idea of what Lord Krishna looks like. That's how I will think about him. And then you close your eyes, and then you start seeing him with the eyes of your mind, the internal eyes. And to help you do that, you sing bhajans and kirtans, or you listen to them and you sing along with them. And I cannot say enough about actually chanting, physically chanting. Not hearing someone else chant, but chanting yourself, chanting for yourself. It's very, very important because our mind gets a lot of help. When we are chanting, the mind becomes more interested. Maharaji used to, and following his lead, I always remind people again and again, tali bajaye, clap your hands. When we are sitting down and doing bhajans and kirtans, it's so important to clap also, because clapping also helps the mind become more interested in Rup Dhyan. We need all the possible help we can get to help the mind think about Bhagwan, to help the mind fall in love with God. That's what we want to do. That is what our sadhana is. That is what the practice of devotion entails. We're just trying to get the mind to rest at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. That's all. To focus the mind on devotion to God, we absolutely have to take out some time and dedicate that time only to devotion. Not also to devotion, but only to devotion. Only to devotion. That's it. There's no phone near you. You've turned it off. You put it away. There's no other gadget near you. You have put do not disturb sign outside the door if there are other family members. And you are going to spend that time just alone with God and Guru. That's it. It's a one-on-one, you and God and Guru. That's it. That time is going to be crucial. It's going to prove crucial to your devotional progress. And so that you may think more effectively about God and Guru, our scriptures recommend early hours of the morning, a little bit before dawn. Brahma Muhurt, it's called. You've heard about it. Everyone knows about it. Brahma Muhurt. Brahme Muhurto Uttishtet. Scriptures say you should wake up at Brahma Muhurt, just before dawn. Because that is a time which is the godliest hour. That is the hour which is the godliest. It's an hour where there are many, there's an abundance of devotional atmosphere, devotional vibrations in the environment. And they're going to help us to think about Shri Krishna. Also, you have a lot of peace and quiet at that time. So that is going to help you a lot. Not only that, but you have not gotten involved with phone calls and conversations and chores and so on. So for all these reasons, it is so important to use early hours of the morning in which to do Rup Dhyan, Karm Sannyas Sadhana, where you take sannyas, you renounce all your duties and obligations, all your works. And here, multitasking is not going to be good. No. That, oh, let me keep my phone with me, and when somebody calls, I'll pick it up. No, no. Let me cut some vegetables while I'm at it. No. Let me multitask. I'm so used to multitasking. There's no time. No, no, no. You just do this one thing and that's it. Because you see, our mind is so attracted to the world that it will forget all about Bhagwan, it will forget all about God, and all that it will think about is the phone calls of he didn't call, she didn't call, they didn't call, and I will call them. The more worldly reminders you have around you, the more difficult it's going to be for you to do Rup Dhyan. So no multitasking, just one thing, and that is do devotion. And it's so merciful of Shri Krishna to give us full freedom in how we wish to think of him. How should I think of him? The mind thinks, I don't know what to think of. What does he look like? So Rasik saints have given us a lot of hints as to what Shri Krishna looks like. And they all agree that he has a round face. Nobody has said he has a square kind of face or an oval shaped face. Everyone, all the Rasik saints have said, Shri Krishna has a round face. They have all said that he has curly, jet black, soft, silky, curly hair. Nobody has said to date that he has straight hair and short hair. No. All of them have said that his eyes are very deep and very beautiful and filled with mischief and with love, understanding, and compassion. So we have lots of hints. All of them have said that his lips are very red. They're naturally red. And his teeth are very white. And they have said, so the Rasik saints have said that his teeth resemble pomegranate seeds, anarke bij. So with these hints and many more that are given to us, we start our Rup Dhyan. And then we can change it up as much as we want. In other words, if curly hair is not your thing, maybe you have curly hair and you're just tired of curly hair and you say, I want to straighten my hair and I want Krishna to have straight hair. No problem. I want him to have short hair. That's okay. I want him to look like this. I don't understand Pitambar, that traditional way. I want him to be dressed up in a modern way. That's all right. I want him to play cricket. I want him to play baseball. I want him to play soccer, football. That's okay. Yena kena prakarena manah Krishne niveshayet. The scriptures say, no matter how you do it, just make sure that you are thinking about Shri Krishna. In other words, how you think of him is of no consequence. That you are thinking of him is the important thing. He looks like this or he looks like that. Just have your feelings that that he is divine. He is my Lord and Master and my beloved and my everything. And I'm thinking of him with my material mind. And I know he doesn't look like this, but I beg you, Lord Krishna, to accept this Rup Dhyan of mine. Shri Krishna said, I have already said in the scriptures, I shall accept any which way that you think of me. Even if somebody thinks of a stick figure, Shri Krishna will accept that. But when he gives darshan, when he actually appears before you, and you used to think of him as being stick figures, but when he appears before you, he's going to appear in all his divine glory. He is going to be appearing as he is. Shri Krishna is very pleased that his child is making an effort to think of him. And so he gives us lots of concessions. He doesn't say, I look like this, and don't you dare think of me like that. No, this or that or anything you please, it's fine with me. And some people get nervous when they are thinking about Shri Krishna. And when they hear Shri Maharaji saying, Shri Krishna put a bat in his hand, he's going to play cricket. Some people say, oh, that's not right. Shri Krishna doesn't play cricket. Hari Ananta, Hari Katha Ananta. The Ramayana has said, his pastimes are unlimited. Unlimited means that he plays all the games. There's no pastime he has not performed. And if you say there is something that he has not done, I'm sure of it, it's something new, then he will do that too. But the fact is, there is nothing, there's no Leela, there's no pastime that he has not performed uncountable times. So it becomes very easy for us. You see, God is the easy one. It's the Devtas, Indra, etc. They are the demanding ones. They are the picky and choosy ones. You offered me red cloth. You don't offer me red. Offer me white. You offered me this food stuff. I don't eat that. I don't accept that. I accept something else. So they are the picky and choosy ones. But when it comes to Bhagwan, you can feed him anything. In your mind, you don't even have to feed him physically, but Patreshu, Pushpeshu, Phaleshu, Toyesh, Vakrit. This is Nisingh Tapani Upanishad, in which it is said, Bhagwan says, I will accept a leaf, a flower, a fruit, and I'm sure you're more familiar with a similar verse from the Gita. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati. I will accept a leaf, a flower, fruit, even water, whatever you give me. So God is not demanding at all. He's extremely merciful, very simple. You can please him by just giving him a leaf, a flower, fruit, water. That's it. Anything. And our mind, which is very mischievous by nature, it wants to make a lot of changes. So it wants variety. Even in life, our mind craves variety. That we want to eat different kind of food every day. Like every day, dal and rice. Seriously? Every day, dal and rice. Dal and rice, dal and rice. Bread and butter every day. No. Want something different every day. Different cuisines. Let me try Oriental cuisine. Let me try, let's have pasta. Let's try Italian today. And I want Mediterranean. I want Middle Eastern. There is so much variety out there, and our mind wants variety in what we wear, what we eat, in every possible aspect of life. We want variety. We want change. We get bored. Sri Maharaji used to say, if it were left up to us, humans, we would change the color of our eyes every day. We would change the length of our hair every day. We would change so many things about the way we look, because the mind is a spoiled mind and it craves variety. So when it comes to Rup Dhyan, our mind is going to say, I want variety. All right, let's give you the variety. The mind is thinking about Shri Krishna and he is my beloved. You're in Madhurya Bhav, which is the best thing to do, to go into Madhurya Bhav. form a lover-beloved relationship with him. Even if you're a male, then you will think of yourself to be a female, and Shri Krishna is your beloved. So in this way, and if you're a female, there's no problem. Think of yourself as a 16-year-old gopi, and Shri Krishna is your beloved, your Priyatam. So you are thinking of him as your beloved, and after some time, the mind says, no, I want to think of him as my child. Go ahead. After some time, I want to cry to him like a servant cries for mercy from the master. He's my Lord and Master. Go ahead, change that feeling, change the sentiment. Then I want to think of him as my child. All right, go right ahead. We have a lot of variety, and we should use that privilege that Shri Krishna has given to us and provide a lot of variety to our mind so the mind doesn't get bored. Some people say, well, no, I don't like chanting. I just like to sit quietly. What are you doing quietly? I'm in my mind, I'm chanting, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Saying this, our head will go back. Our head will go further and further down. We fall asleep. Why? Because it's boring. Name of God is boring? No. Our mind gets bored because it's a spoiled mind. So with a view to keep the mind interested in God, God and his loving saints have come up with kirtan and bhajan and doing Roop Dhyan with the help of kirtan and bhajan. And God has given us, as I said, full freedom to do to think of him as we like. So the mind is thinking about Shri Krishna, but then how long? It will ask, how long do I think about Lord Krishna? Once I was holding a crying child, and to pacify him, I said, Radhe, 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 Radhe. And he started saying Radhe, Radhe with me. So we say Radhe, Radhe, he forgot to cry. After some time, he said, no more Radhe, Radhe. And I said, indeed, no more Radhe, Radhe, because he's gotten tired of that. We get tired of thinking of God. We get tired. So that we don't go back to the world, we have a lot of variety. Sri Maharaji has gifted us with 1008 devotional songs from Prem Ras Madira, and so many more in so many other scriptures, 11,111 dohas or couplets from Radha Govind Geet, from Shama Sham Geet. We have 1008 couplets, dohas, 2-line verses. We have thousands and thousands of kirtans. There's so much variety, so much variety. And all that just to keep our mischievous mind happy, the mind that craves variety all the time. But when the mind does go away, we're trying to tame our mind and we're trying to train our mind. So when the mind does go away, Sri Maharaj suggests that we should take Lord Krishna wherever the mind has gone. And I have possibly told you all, this wonderful group of devotees, and you know this, you've been listening, many of you listen to Sri Maharaji directly. So you know what Sri Maharaji says. Take Manmohan, wherever the mind has gone, take Manmohan, the delighter of the mind, right there. And this simple method is so effective. I'm blown away by the efficiency of this method. Because you see, up until we heard Maharaji say this, all we had heard is, if your mind goes away from God, you just bring it back. Bring it back. So we used to get mad at the mind, get angry at the mind. You crazy mind, you mischievous mind, come back to God. And Sri Maharaji says, don't get angry, you're defeating the purpose. Just let it go wherever it wants to go, but take Lord Krishna wherever it has gone. And I remember the first time I heard that, I thought, that is brilliant. It's this divinely brilliant mind that has come up with this. It's so easy, but we're not able to think like that. That's why we need a guru. And so Sri Maharaji says, take Lord Krishna wherever the mind has gone. That way, no matter where the mind goes, there is Lord Krishna. And the mind eventually does get tired. that I'm trying to get away from him, and yet he keeps following me. So when the mind goes away, and it invariably does, and it will go away, but put Lord Krishna wherever the mind has gone, put your Gurudev, put Sri Maharaji wherever the mind has gone. The mind is once again thinking about Sri Krishna. So it's all about training the mind. We kind of go with the flow of the mind, don't we? We just have a tendency to just wherever it's going, chalo, let it go. What can I do? Hum kya kar sakte hain? I'm helpless. No, we're not helpless. We should not just let the mind go wherever it wants to go. We need to train the mind. If it goes away, wherever it goes, we need to take God there. We are training it so that it doesn't become, so it no longer remains our master. We become the masters of the mind. Remember that a trained mind is our best friend, and an untrained, unruly mind is our worst enemy. There's no enemy we have out there that is a bigger enemy than our own mind, which is untrained. So we should always try to train our mind. When you come out of your karma sannyas sadhana, then you're involved with the world, then again you're going to train the mind by thinking about Sri Krishna every so often throughout the day. Throughout the day, you're going to think of him. Just for a split second, 1 or 2 moments, that's all. You're going to think of him. I have started my work in the morning. Now I'm going to think of him every hour, on the hour. And this way, I will be reminding myself that I'm never alone, that he is everywhere I am, he is there. He's already there. I'm never alone. I'm never alone. I'm never alone. He's always with me. I want his grace. So I need to do the right thing. I need to think of him. I need to love him. I want to love him. I'm going to train my mind, even as I get busy with my chores, with my daily work routine. Nobody can say, I'm too busy to train my mind like this. I have too many chores to do. But Lord Krishna said to Arjun, as you fight the battle, think of me all the time. I don't think any one of us could be busier than Arjun was on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And yet he did exactly what Sri Krishna said for him to do. He was fighting with the enemy. He's trying to attack the enemy and at the same time protect himself from the enemies. So the sword is there and the shield is there. He's trying to attack the enemy and he's trying to protect himself. And yet at the same time, he's thinking about Sri Krishna. And Sri Krishna deliberately delivered the discourse on the Bhagavad Gita on the busy battlefield where there's so much bloodshed going on. He deliberately gave that lecture to Arjun on the battlefield so that no one in the future could ever have this lame excuse. They don't have the time. I'm too busy. If Arjun can think about Sri Krishna, if he can do Rup Dhyan of Sri Krishna while engaged in battle, certainly we can all do it. The gopis are a wonderful example of devotees who thought about Sri Krishna all the time while being engaged in so many chores of everyday life. Ya dohane vahanane mathano pale papreng king kanar bharudito ksanamarjanado. Bhagavatam says that the gopi, whether she was cleaning the house or cooking a meal for her family, or milking the cow, or getting water from the Yamuna River, filling her pots of water, then balancing them on her head and walking home. No matter what she was doing, she was always thinking about Shri Krishna at the same time. All the time, there was one thought on her mind, Krishna, 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 Govind, Sham Sundar, Sham Sundar, Sham Sundar. She was constantly doing Rup Dhyan. And if one person has managed to to think about God and train his mind to think of God, then it follows that the rest of us can do it. And here we don't have just one person, we have countless brothers and sisters who have attained God realization. And they did it just like we are trying to do it. They did it exactly like this. They tried to think about God. They did Rup Dhyan. They struggled with the mind. It wasn't easy for them either. They struggled with the mind and they became so good at it that it became easier. Same thing will happen with us. When we train our mind, in the beginning, it's very difficult because the mind puts up a very good struggle, very strong struggle. But it will not always be like this. It won't always be difficult. It will become easier and easier as we work more and more diligently. So it's all about training the mind, because it's the mind that practices devotion. It is the mind that practices devotion. We have to think about it again and again until we're convinced it is the mind that practices devotion. The devotion we perform with our eyes, nose, tongue, or any other part of the body, it is not noticed. God does not notice that. But the devotion that we practice with our mind, that is noticed. So the very first thing to learn about devotion is that it is practiced by the mind. So that the mind may take interest in God, we use all our sense organs in the practice of devotion. This is a very intelligent thing to do that the saints have taught us. But we must be careful and not think that the devotion that I'm doing using my tongue, the kirtans and bhajans I'm singing, that is what devotion is. That is a helpful tool in practice and the practice of devotion. Do not be fooled into thinking, oh, I've been to Vrindavan so many times and that should count for something. If you thought about Shri Krishna when you were in Vrindavan, then the thoughts on Shri Krishna, they are the ones that will help you, not simply going to Vrindavan or any other holy place physically. Anyhow, I think I've talked enough, and I'll leave some time for questions and answers. Q&A session. Boliye Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai. Srimad Sadguru Sarkar ki jai.
If anyone has questions, please raise your hand.
Prabhat Bhaiya.
दीदी, जब प्रवचन होता है तो 10-15 मिनट के बाद मुझे नींद आना शुरू होता है. क्या करना चाहिए? Really, I'm tired of this bad habit of mine.
So I will answer that in English, and so that everyone may understand. So the question is, when I listen to lectures, I fall asleep after 15-20 minutes, and I'm very disturbed by this habit. What should I do? Standing will help you, I believe, and putting cold water in the eyes will help. Just standing, maybe moving around a little bit, and not just sitting, but also making yourself feel awake by splashing cold water in the eyes. Have you tried those?
Uh, like when I'm at the Radha Madhav Dham, or like here, I can't just go out. It feels awkward. And I mean, I think I can try and see if it works. I mean, it should work.
It should work. Yes. I think it will work, definitely. But have you had, even though you've had good sleep, even then you feel sleepy? Or is it lack of sleep?
Yes, I sleep really well in the night. Still, I'll go to this sadhana. Uh, I'll be watching a pravachan at my home on TV, and in 20 minutes, 15 minutes, I feel like, oh, I'm tired. I feel sleepy. I don't
Right.
know. And this has been going on forever. It's not like suddenly I saw it. I go to RMD a lot of times, and in between all this pravachan going on, I feel sleepy, and I'm like, really?
Right. Of course, that does disturb you because you want to listen. However, but you do try this so you can sit in the back so that nobody know, you're not right in the front and standing.
Yeah,
And or maybe, get a little squirt bottle and
yeah,
tiny little squirt bottles and we're sitting there putting try anything and everything that you can.
yeah.
Like there was
Thank you.
that reminded me of a devotee 500 years ago during the time of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhuji would say to the devotees, you should cry, you should shed tears. And there was a devotee who could not shed tears. And I'm sure you have heard the story. And then one day when he could not shed tears, he just he was ready. He felt really badly that he cannot cry even for God. So he took a packet of chilies and rubbed both his eyes with that, and instantly tears started coming. So I think of that example that, he went to such great lengths to make sure that he cried. And Mahaprabhuji, well, someone complained to Mahaprabhuji saying, this man is an imposter. But Mahaprabhuji, all knowing Mahaprabhuji, was very happy with this devotee and said, I'm so pleased with you because you have understood the importance of tears. I cannot imagine rubbing chilies over my eyes, right? It's so difficult to do. And yet he said, I want to try everything I can to shed tears. I know a devotee, not 500 years ago, just currently living in Mangar right now. But when he was not living there, you remember when he first heard my lectures and he started coming to satsang, and he said when he cannot cry for God in his personal sadhana, he's all alone. He used to beat himself with his belt. So I'm not suggesting that to anyone, but I'm just saying that where there's a will, there's a way. You try everything you can to get that work done.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Um, Radhe Radhe, Didiji.
Radhe Radhe.
Uh, I have one query. You talked about Roop Dhyan.
Yes.
So there is one hindrance I feel that when in my case, like that's sort of culturally ingrained. Like we are non-vegetarian since childhood, our parents also. So it's kind of culturally ingrained. Though my grandfather, after a certain age, they left everything and they got Gurumukh, and even quite early in age. But my parents did, so culturally we are also like that. So whenever I think about Roop Dhyan, uh, Naam Jap is fine, but when I think about that, I feel guilty. Like, am I worthy enough to do that? Or I try to just imagine the feat, but I many times I don't. I feel a lot of guilt in myself. I mean, uh, because there are things like few like non-vegetarian in past, though I've desperately reduced this alcohol and all things, uh, almost kind of nil. But non-vegetarian thing is going on. So how to get rid of guilt of that guilt and then go that with the Roop Dhyan and all. Though I try to do Roop Dhyan like feet of the god. But that is also a bit fine. I find difficult. Uh, Naam Jap is fine, but that's fine. A lot of hindrance in that. You
Right.
know, that's I always feel, is it worthy enough, or am I doing right?
No,
Or fine.
everyone is worthy. Everyone is worthy of doing Roop Dhyan. Don't worry about it. Um, you know, you should not feel hesitant at all that you're not a pure vegetarian, so you're not worthy. It's not like that. I'll tell you something Maharajji said. Maharajji said, imagine that there are two neighbors. One of them is vegetarian, and the other is a non-vegetarian, and he eats meat every day. But the vegetarian is happens to be a very crooked kind of a fellow. He's a cheater, he's a liar, he has lots of vices. But the non-vegetarian is a very gentle fellow. He's very, very helpful to everyone, and he has golden qualities. So God does not judge us. He doesn't judge his human children by one aspect. So God will not say vegetarian, yes, good. Non-vegetarian, no, wrong. God looks at the entire thing. So you should let go of that guilt and absolutely practice Rup Dhyan. You said the difficulty should not, it's not really that you are non-vegetarian, but it's just that our mind, for a vegetarian also, it's very difficult to do Rup Dhyan because the mind is so focused on the world. But as far as feeling guilty that you are not a vegetarian, you should let go of that altogether. Not a problem. It's okay. God is not saying that only vegetarians can do Rup Dhyan. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, Didi. I mean, it will take time probably. I mean, because there are few things like, as I said, alcohol in past, and then still it's in one occasionally that is, and then non-vegetarian things. Because my family, my wife, and all does that. Even kids, and they are not eager to, you know. And there are a lot of things in social media comes up. There are a lot of that is quite sinful to do that and all those things, so that is why sort of comes up.
But you're Sandeep, right?
Yeah, Sandeep, yeah,
From the UK?
yeah, I'm in UK only.
So Sandeep, I would say if you feel so guilty, why not give it up? Why not give up
I mean,
the
to be honest, I like that. I mean, there's one and another thing. My family is not also my wife, my children's,
everybody
even
else?
I mean, everyone is like that. Even the parents doesn't say so. Though they are very spiritual, my mother almost have left. She doesn't have that likeness. Even not my father.
Mhm.
But we, as a currently, uh, we are kind of not quite fond of, but yeah, I mean, it's still.
But you go ahead and there's no hesitation. There should be no hesitation in doing Rup Dhyan. Best of luck.
Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Didi.
Radhe Radhe.
Yeah. If we have time, I just have one more question.
Yes, there's
Can-
time for it.
Yeah. So during the Rup Dhyan, as you mentioned, or whenever we are praying God, in case why is it so important to shed the tears? And yeah, as you said, Gaurang Mahaprabhuji also mentioned that it is always good to get that. And is it just a tears out of feeling sorrow, or is it just that there is a kind of fear inside you which is trying to let it out, something like that?
The tears are, tears of separation, that separation from Sri Krishna, tears of sadness, I'm separated from him, tears of repentance also, that I have committed so many wrongs. But basically, it's that tears are due to feeling separated from him, and I belong to him, but I'm separated from him. I have not accepted him. Those are the tears, and it's not just a suggestion. It's a must. Unless we shed tears, we can't purify our heart. That's why it's important to shed tears. So there are tears also of joy that when you think of him to be with you, those are also, there are different kinds of tears you'll shed. There are cold tears of union with him. When you think he's right here with me, you shed cold tears. When you think I'm eternally separated from him and that separation hits you, and those are hot tears. But you'll shed both kinds of tears.
Yeah, I also have one more question. Like when we are doing the Rup Dhyan, when I start thinking of Krishna and I start trying to do the Rup Dhyan, I get different forms of Krishna. I think I have raised it earlier with you. When I try to do Rup Dhyan on Krishna, I get the pictures, I get the vision of Radha Devi, or maybe Narasimha with Lakshmi Devi, or different Lord Shiva. So like, is it okay to keep switching between the forms, or just think everything is the same, it is all Krishna in different attires? Maybe we can think it like that.
Like you said, okay, Nursing Bhagwan. Now he comes there with Lakshmi. So what you can then do is just envision him, visualize that he is merging within Krishna. So you send the message to your mind that they're all one, but the Shri Krishna's form is the most attractive one. So I'll think about him. He's non-different from Nrsimha and any other form. But it is important for the mind to worship one single form of God. Although every form of God is absolutely equal. Yet for the mind, which is very limited, we need to think about one. So when the other forms come in, quietly just merge them within Krishna, that's all. Because of previous training.
Yeah.
And so they'll come in. It's not wrong. Absolutely not wrong. But as Maharaji used to say, I love the way he said that. It's not wrong, but it's not so right either. It's not wrong. It can never be wrong to think about God. But it's not as effective as you could make it. That's all. There's nothing more than that. You want to do devotion effectively, and you want to be more and more devoted. So for that, ananyata, that one form of God, is very important.
Okay. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. We still have some time.
Radhe Radhe Didi ji.
Radhe Radhe.
Didi, just one quick question. So, like when you try to do meditation and all, and your mind wanders to different places, and Maharaj ji also says, and you have also mentioned it, to put Lord Krishna and Radharani and your Guru make them stand over there. But how does it relate with when you're worried about the certain tensions, certain things, situations going on in your life? So during that, how do you get Lord Krishna or Maharajji over there in that situation when the mind wanders to that?
I see, right. Mind gets distracted. Mind goes, you're trying to think about Shri Krishna and the mind goes there.
Yeah.
So just at that moment, you can think of a few things. Like you can think, Lord Krishna is here with me. There's nothing to worry about. You have to tell your mind that there's nothing to worry about. Well, or you can say, we'll deal with that later. But for now, this. Or Lord Krishna is he's with me. I don't need to worry. We'll be okay. We'll deal with it. But for now, I've got something else to do. I've got dhyan to do. Because the mind does get distracted. That's all it does. When we try to think about Shri Krishna, it goes and thinks about the problems, the challenges, and whatnot. So when it does happen like that, just say to the mind, we'll visit this later. Or you could just say that Lord Krishna is right there. What need do I have to worry? Shri Radhe Hamari Sarkar Fikir Mohi Kahe Ki. And then just cry out to Shri Krishna that I don't want to think about these problems. I want to think about you. And his heart melts when he sees tears. God and Guru both.
So Didi, like Maharajji also said that the tears should be of either a separation or when you're meeting him. But sometimes the tears are not for separation or meeting. It's just more of like what we are doing, with what purpose you've sent. So is that also something considered as towards the devotional, purifying your heart, or no? Is it?
Of course. Yes, that does. That also, those tears are also really good too. They also purify the heart. Because as long as you're not crying for the world, you are crying
just for their love or something like that, or just for their blessings.
Yes.
Yeah. So Didi, just the other thing which was like sometimes what happens is like work wise, because every day the life is so hectic that even though you try and you talk to oneself that okay, we want to think about Lord Krishna or Maharajji at least every 1 hour or sometime, but the work has been so hectic, busy, that since morning to evening you have just totally forgotten or just missed out, and then one feels sad. And I tried putting alarms as well, which doesn't work. So how would you advise us to practice that in our day-to-day life and to work, to how to have that, okay, every half an hour, 1 hour? How do we do that?
I thought alarms would work really well because as soon as the alarm is there, then you take a moment or two to think about God. And that doesn't work. What happens when the alarm sounds?
It just goes snooze and just continue working. That's what is
Oh,
happening.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, just you have to, I believe that you have to prepare the mind early in the morning, just to say, okay, we are going to think. This is the plan of action today. We are going to think about Lord Krishna. We're going to think about him many times during the day, just for a split second. It's just a split second, just to make sure that the mind understands that it's not alone. And that even one moment every hour will, it adds up to a lot all throughout the day. So I would say setting the alarm that's the easiest thing to do. And so don't ignore the alarm, just obey the alarm.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good shout. Dee. Thank you so much. Just really one last one, because say for example, one has been listening to the pravachan, sankirtans, trying to think about God as and when regularly, but after certain time, the mind gets, like as you have mentioned, bored. It gets distracted because either one would think, oh, I've already done it for 1 hour, 2 hours. Now let me just try to refresh it and go and do something else, and just start watching reels or videos and all. So how yeah, I know it is more of control and training our brain, but how can we do it more rigidly, I would say?
To do devotion more
Yeah,
routine.
not to get distracted, because all of these things are distractions. Like multimedia today is a very big distraction, but like after every half an hour the hand goes towards it, and instead of listening to devotional thing, it just goes towards watching reels or anything like that. So
It
how
does.
how does one control it once
With philosophy, you tell your mind, it takes a while, but you tell the mind again and again, I'm going to listen to my guru's words, and I'm going to put the phone away for this amount of time. Just being very strict with your mind and saying, oh, no, I'm going to put this away. After some time, the mind starts obeying, but in the beginning, it's very difficult. But after some time, it does obey, and then the mind says there's a lot more interest in the reels than there is in the lecture. So then you start listening. No, let's listen to the lecture. That's not true. Let's listen to the lecture or watch some other video. And then the mind finds it to be very interesting. So you say, see, I proved you wrong. Basically, we have to tell the mind and convince the mind that this is what we're going to do, and then get tough with the mind and say, absolutely not. It's just we have to set limits on ourselves and reduce the consumption of multimedia. So it's just basically getting that discipline done. And once you do it one day, the next day you do it, and then you're more inspired to do it, because then you think, yesterday I succeeded. And so, success breeds success. So yesterday I was able to do this. Today I can do it again. The next day, yes, I've succeeded for 2 days. I can do it on the third day too. So it's one success after the other. The first time it's hard, but then you just control the mind, because God and Guru are giving everything else to us, but we need to control our own mind. So it's just, and I think that it starts with understanding the importance of what we are doing, the importance of thinking about God and Guru, and the importance of not overdoing it with the social media. So we just have to tell the mind what is right, what's wrong, and understand really well what the aim is and how to go about doing that. Then the mind gets convinced. It's not an easy thing. Social media has made it so much, it's made it so much more difficult, but it's not impossible.
And with for the starters who haven't done meditation before and they want to try it, just quickly, so should we set a time with alarm, like, okay, let's try to do a meditation for 5 minutes, and also should it be always an image of Lord Krishna, or should it be what they say, like a leela, or what it should be, and how can we assist it so that it becomes a better roop dhyan?
Yeah, first of all, it's very good to set a certain time for it. So the mind says, okay, mind understand that this is the time I'm going to do this. And this is structured. And then whatever your mind takes interest in, that's the leela you should think about. Let's say you have no interest in cricket, so don't have him play cricket in your Roop Dhyan, because you have no idea. It's not interesting. But whatever you are interested in, involve Shri Krishna in that Leela. And then the main thing is to keep the mind interested. So you decide what interests your mind the most, and you go with that Leela. Create a Leela in your mind. Use your imagination. I don't know if you like, I just thought of something funny. If you like just organizing your closet at home, and Lord Krishna is right there, he's watching you, and he's watching you, you're organizing your closet, and he's saying, no, you put this over there, you do this, whatever interests you.
That's really helpful, Didiji. Thank you so much. Radhe
You're
Radhe.
most welcome. Radhe Radhe. Radhe Radhe, everybody. But I wanted to say one thing. I believe next Thursday, or we have this 2 Thursdays from now. Can
Yes.
someone tell me what date that would be?
That would be 2 weeks from now, which is 31, 2, 3, 3rd July.
I'll be in India, so I can do one next week, next Thursday as well. But I
Okay.
would not be able to do when I'm in India.
Yeah, I'll inform Vikas Bhaiya, no problem.
Okay. And then, so everybody here should know that we'll have one next Thursday.
Yeah.
And is that okay with everybody? I hope it is, whoever can make it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to miss when I'm in India. I know, because I think it's like very late in the evening for me at night. What time would that be in India? If it's 8
It is
o'clock.
1:30.
12:30.
12:30, yeah, 12:30.
No. So I would like to do one next Thursday.
जी दीदी ठीक.
Minesh Bhaiya has a question, but I think we can take it next week.
That's okay. I can take it now.
Okay, Minesh Bhaiya.
Thank you, Devi.
Radhe Radhe.
And thank you for taking this question. I know it's gone past the time. I had a question. Can you talk about prayer? Praying to Lord Krishna to help us bring Lord Krishna closer to us.
Oh, that's what I was talking about. Praying to him, meaning doing Roop Dhyan. You're visualizing him. You're listening to bhajans and kirtans. You're singing along also, and you are thinking of him, and you are doing Roop Dhyan, meaning you are visualizing him and you're serving him. You are serving him in many different ways. You are watching him perform the leelas. So that's what prayer really is, that you are praying to him, not for anything materialistic. You're not praying to him for anything, but just you're praying to him, I want your divine love. I want to serve you. Allow me to serve you. That is what prayer is. Or do you mean something else?
So yeah, I think I think the ultimate aim is for devotional service, but the prayer is for difficulties we may have, like some of the examples that were mentioned today. Difficulty with diet, could be difficulty with health, it could be difficulty with work. So to help us focus on Lord Krishna rather than get distracted with all these other materialistic things.
I think I understand what you're asking, but so praying to him, praying to God for in times of to solve our difficulties in life, of course, that's not a good thing. So our devotion should be without any such prayer. Our prayer should be only for us to serve him and to be more devoted to him, rather than the prayer should not be for saving our loved one's life or making sure that we have good physical health or to take care of us in some way. I don't have enough money. I want more money. Please arrange it, that sort of thing. Those prayers, we used to think that those are prayers. But then we understood when Maharaji said that's just selfishness. There's no devotion in it. So our prayer should be only that I wish to love you. I wish selflessly, I wish to serve you for your pleasure. And that's the gist of our prayer to him.
Thank you, Didi.
Most welcome.
Radhe
Radhe
Radhe.
Radhe, everybody. Once again, a pleasure for me. And we'll see you next Thursday. Radhe Radhe. Srimad
Radhe Radhe.
Satguru.
See you in India. Radhe Radhe.
Yes,
Radhe
you
Radhe.
didn't. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe
Srimad Satguru Sarkar
Sarkar
ki.
ki
Ki
jai.
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 Radhe Radhe.
Radhe
Radhe
Radhe,
Radhe.
everybody. Radhe Radhe. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, Rajeshri.
No problem, Didi.
Thank you. Radhe
Bye.
Radhe.
Well
Radhe
done.
Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.